The anticipated chapter is finally here, where the story really starts to fall into place. And I've been looking forward to this one a lot. This one's going to get pretty emotional. So here we go. Keep in mind, Lucy just asked Falco to dance, so that's where this starts out at. Lucy, however, gave the thumbs up.
It's a go!
She grinned.
He said yes.
Crystal felt her jaw drop.
How did you do that?
She exclaimed, peeking over Lucy's shoulder to try and catch Falco's expression. He looked very pleased, and she could sense a light-hearted aura coming from his direction. There was absolutely no way that anyone could win over stubborn Falco, and yet Lucy had done it so easily. She winked at her friend.
Natural charm, I guess.
Now that Lucy had held up her end of the bargain, Crystal knew that it was only fair if she did the same, even if Fox was not in the mood. She finally found Fox standing alone near their dinner table. Lucy gave one more piece of encouraging advice and nearly shoved the blue vixen towards the leader of the Starfox team. Crystal took a deep breath to calm her nerves, plastered on a serene smile, and walked up slowly to Fox, who barely looked up as she approached him. She stopped in front of his chair.
Fox?
She said, trying hard to sound like she knew what she was doing. The fox sat up a bit straighter in his chair and nodded for her to go on.
Would you like to dance with me for the next song?
Did she say that correctly? Was she not supposed to ask it as a question at all? Was she supposed to be the independent, assertive female, or the surrendering girl to the man? Oh, how she wished she had asked Lucy how this was done. But Fox hesitated. He seemed to be thinking of a response, as if he did not wish to hurt her feelings. Crystal's heart dropped a little. Finally, Fox gave a little sigh. "Alright," he said. When Crystal walked back to Lucy, she was not smiling the way her friend had. When the band started playing a slow waltz, Lucy skipped up to Falco and curtsied. He looked at her as if she was crazy, but he laughed good-naturedly anyways. Crystal felt a feeling of dread in her chest as she approached Fox, who looked as though he would rather be doing anything else. He gave a courteous nod before offering his arm to the vixen. She took it, and immediately on contact, she felt his emotions course through her body in a wave of negative energy. She put up her mind barrier quickly, so that she could not read any more of his depressing feelings and thoughts.
Why did I ever ask him to dance?
She wondered in her mind. Fox and Crystal began to dance to the slow waltz on the dance floor. He almost never met her emerald eyes, which were wide with worry. When Crystal first pictured her first dance with Fox, she imagined something a little more happy. She always pictured Fox looking at her with a shy, puppy dog expression, as if he wanted to tell her something, and then looking quickly away embarrassed. She missed his old, tentative smile, and the way his emotions went off the charts when she was near. She missed the way her own heart would soar when their eyes met. But everything about him was wrong tonight. When the dance finally ended and everyone clapped for the band, Fox let go of Crystal's waist quickly, as if he could not wait to get away. He did not meet her eyes as he said, "I have to talk to you." As he turned and walked off, she followed behind him. They passed the rest of the team, who were all giving them strange looks. Crystal and Lucy's eyes met for a moment, and the bunnies were etched with curiosity. But the vixen knew that what Fox had to say was anything but good news. They made their way out of the great hall and down a lit corridor. There was not another soul in sight as they made their way deeper and deeper into the building, the lights beginning to grow dimmer and dimmer. He finally stopped when they could no longer hear the rest of the party. Crystal stopped a few yards behind him. Fox finally turned to face Crystal and looked her square in the eyes. His were so dim and lifeless. What could be wrong? The leader took a breath and said, as sternly as a general, "Crystal, I want you to leave the team." Silence hung in the air for what seemed like an eternity. Crystal processed his words slowly and thought she must have heard him wrong. She widened her eyes at him as if waiting for the punchline. She gave a very weak laugh.
Surely you don't mean such a thing.
Fox's gaze grew harder. "I want you off the team, Crystal."
Stop it,
she said dangerously with her voice shaking slightly, daring him to stop this cruel joke. "I've never been more serious in my entire life," he replied, gritting his teeth. It was a dagger in her heart. How could he say such a thing? Crystal's chest rose and fell with emotion, and the reality of the situation started to settle in. She clasped her hands together to stop them from trembling.
Why?
Was all she could ask.
How can this be happening?
Fox's gaze seemed to soften for a split second, but it could have just been Crystal's imagination. You're Safety is in jeopardy, he said. I can't let someone like you continue to risk your life. Crystal shook even harder, now with the tinge of rage inside of her.
Someone like me. You know I am capable, Fox. Granted, I have not been training for as long as the others, but you know that my telepathy has helped you in countless battles. I'm still learning. Do you want me to train harder? Is that it?
Crystal knew that this was not the case, yet she couldn't accept the things Fox was telling her. No. That was it. Crystal's knees buckled and she fell onto the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. She could not remember the last time she had cried so hard, yet she knew there was a time. She remembered the smell of smoke and the sound of screams. The blue vixen looked up at Fox with her shiny green orbs, now welled up with tears. She desperately stretched out her hands and grabbed fistfuls of Fox's shirt. He did not flinch.
You can't,
she said, choking back even more tears.
It's my life, Fox. It is what I love doing. Where else can I go? What am I going to do?
My mind is made up.
The team. It's the only family I have left. Please don't ask me to leave. I can't lose my family again, Fox. I just can't.
Fox remained silent. This angered Crystal deeply.
Say something!
Fox's body was as stiff as a board. He kept his eyes shut and his head lowered. He raised his arms and took hold of Crystal's, then slowly pushed them away. He turned around and started walking. Crystal breathed heavily for a few seconds and then screamed at the top of her lungs.
I love you, Fox!
Her voice shook with sobs.
Please don't leave me.
Fox stopped dead in his tracks. Crystal waited hopefully as her heart raced in her chest. She prayed that he would hear her words, turn around and ask her back, that tomorrow she would wake up again warm and happy, and things would be as they always were. He stood there silent and motionless for nearly a minute and then finally said, "Goodbye, Crystal."